guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Walker Ford in super hot, sweaty Clearwater, Florida. And guess what? We have that redesigned midsize for you that a lot of people are curious about. It's this truck right here. This is your refresh, redesign, updated, changed up 2024 Ford Ranger. This particular one is an STX. But before we get into this value price, rear-wheel drive, Velocity Blue, one of my favorite colors, Velocity Blue Rangers, let's talk about what's going on here. So, mid-size truck segment, it seems that everybody and their mother is changing their design, from Toyota with the Tacoma, obviously Chevy with the Colorado, GMC with the Canyon, and even the Ridgeline, the Honda Ridgeline, got a couple updates. Now, for 2024, the Ranger gets a total redesign. So this is truly the first new Ranger since 2002, because guess what? The previous gen was already dated because that one had already been available in other markets around the world. Now, of course, when we look at truck prices, whether it's small trucks, big trucks, and everything in between, prices are kind of out of control. I mean, when you think about a Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro costing $66,000 MSRP, what's a person supposed to do if they need a mid-sized truck? Well, guess what? That's where the STX comes into play. This truck is under $35,000. I know normally I don't give the prices away so soon, but that's part of this review, is under $35,000. So is it the best new mid-size truck to buy that's under 35 G's? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Ford Ranger and find out. Right off the bat, the color. Love Velocity Blue. I loved it on the Mustangs. I love it even more on this Ranger. Now, at the front of the business, you're gonna see that redesign. New C-shaped LED daytime running lamps. You have your LED headlights, even on an STX trim. And then working your way down, look at what we have. Well, not LED, but halogen headlights. So you actually have fog lamps that are functional and functional corner air curtains. You know, a lot of times when you go with a lower trim truck, you get a bunch of just blocked off areas that are just regular generic plastic. Here, you're getting LED headlights, you're getting real deal fog lamps, and you're getting functional air curtains. Plus, I like how on the STX, everything is painted. I really think that that helps give it sort of a little bit more upscale feel without the upscale price. Now, as we come across the front grille, totally new for 2024, I don't mind the flat black here. I think it works very well with that iconic Ford badge. So much history within the blue oval. Working our way down, you do have more functionality in the lower grille area with active shutters. The only fake vents we really have are on the sides here, which I'm not gonna zonk those because of the price point. Normally I would zonk them, but at the price point, we gotta, remember, it's always apples to apples comparison. I'm not gonna compare this to a $66,000 truck. This is under $35,000. Now, as we rise up, you have your new hood. And what's cool is that if you park this next to a new F-150, the hoods look very familiar, very similar. And I like that. I like the way that the front of this truck is not rounded like a jelly bean, like the older generation. This one has more truck kind of appeal to it. Now, as we come around the bend, if you think you're gonna get Steelies on this thing, you're wrong. Even at under $35,000, we do have aluminum wheels, nice multi-spoke design, metallic silver. We even get a little bit of an off-road spec style tire with some shielding, 17-inch wheel. Tires are 255 on the width, 70 series sidewall, and we do have flat black around the fender openings. Once again, I'm not gonna zonk that because we're talking about price. Now, as we work our way down the side, you'll notice that we have our functional fender vent with the STX badge that lets you know what trim it is. Flat black on the mirror caps. And then from the side of the truck, the Ranger just has some good overall proportions. You know, a lot of people are like, well, what about the Maverick, Joe? The Maverick is much smaller. This has a 5.5-foot bed. The Maverick, you're not gonna get that. The Maverick is on an SUV chassis. This is a real deal truck chassis. Just something to think about. flat black on the door handles when you go STX. So they are gonna have to, you know, find some areas to help lower that price, and that's one of those areas. Working our way towards the rear of the bed. Steven's gonna show off that box frame. Like I said, this is a real deal truck. This isn't like a Ridgeline or, like I said, a Santa Cruz or Maverick. Swinging around the back. Now, obviously on higher trims, you would get full LED lighting. On the STX, you're gonna get the good old-fashioned Thomas Edison. That's what his friends used to call him, Thomason. They used to blend his name together, but Thomas Edison light bulbs. I'm okay with that. Like I said, under $35,000. The Ranger name, I'm glad that they just stamp it into the tailgate. You don't have to worry about badging. We work our way down. You do have the ability to put a tow receiver on this because you can tow even though it is rear-wheel drive, but this one does not have it from the factory. And then of course, you have a nice soft release on the tailgate. Good sized bed, 5.5 foot bed. You got your tie down locations. No lighting or anything like that, but it's another one of those areas. This is where they decided to say, hey, where can we lower the price on this truck? But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see if there's any differences between the STX and maybe the Lariat that we reviewed here at Walker Ford. Let's go pop that hood. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. Underneath the hood is gonna be the standard engine. What is it? It's that familiar 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine. No engine cover, obviously cutting on costs, but that's what a modern engine looks like today. Obviously, that straightforward turbocharged engine, 270 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. It's the same engine that you could get on a Lariat. There is an optional 2.7 liter EcoBoost, but those are not buildable yet from the factory and definitely wouldn't work in this truck and keep it under $35,000. You still get the 10-speed automatic, 0 to 60 in a peppy 6.5 seconds. Top speed 110 miles an hour. The truck weighs 4,200 pounds. MPGs, 21 in the city, 25 on the highway. Payload capacity is 1,805 pounds. And when properly equipped, you can tow up to 7,500 pounds worth of towing capacity with the Ranger. But why don't we go ahead? It's not just about talking about the engine. Let's see what it sounds like. Let's fire up this Ranger and hear if it makes any noise. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Ford Ranger, this being an SXT. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I need a truck. I need a truck because I got things I got to haul, I got things that I got to carry, but I don't have tens of thousands of dollars lying around, and I definitely don't want to finance a truck for the next 20 years. So how much truly is this truck? So I said under $35,000. So what you're looking at, MSRP, $34,410, the way that this one sits. Plus, who knows, there might be incentives or something that may even make it even a little lower. But let's see what you get for the money when you go SXT to the door panels. What you're gonna find is you are gonna get some hard plastic. So there is hard plastic up top, but remember this is an STX trim. You do get this interesting indentation design. That's something new for 2024. Soft touch on the armrest, and then the rest is just black. And the good news is that it's gonna be easy to keep clean. Door pocket is a decent size. You could fit a Chipotle burrito in one slot and a bottle of Topo Chico to wash it down in the other slot. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, I like the way that even though this is hard plastic, they brought some texture to it to give it a little bit more pizzazz, even though this is one of your lower trim trucks. You have some of this almost like an Arctic gray from Porsche, to be honest with you, Arctic gray color trim in here that's nicely painted. We have our exposed Ranger Twinkie tray. You could actually fit a baker's dozen and a half in this tray. And then you come on in, what do we have? This is your standard 10.25 infotainment system screen, portrait style. The great news is it's full touchscreen. And I think the other thing that you're really gonna like is you have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. And you even have your towing pages that help you go through your checklist and everything. So that's kind of nice too, even though this is an STX. You got your dual climate control. Well, not dual climate, but you have your climate controls on the screen, or they give you a real knob, which is nice. I like the knob because look how easy that is to use. And then of course, working your way down, you have a little bit of storage. You got a place for, I would say you could stack about 8 Snickers in there. USB-C, USB-A, a place for some small Twizzlers, 2 cup holders. This is gonna control your 10-speed automatic. You do have your different drive modes, which I'll show you that on the business side. I don't know what the hell this is for. I guess if you like to play golf, you could keep your favorite golf ball in here and polish your balls when you're ready for that. Soft touch on the armrest. Open it up. You do have a 12 volt, and you have enough room in here. I would say you could put probably 4 of those Entenmann's glazed chocolate donuts. I remember when I used to visit my grandmother when she was still alive, and I would come home from college. She would always have like a table full of Entenmann's coffee cake, bun cake, and those chocolate donuts, which right now I'm starting to salivate. I think you saw me salivate. I'm salivating even more. And then the seats. SXT does get the cloth, but I like the way they bring some design, sort of from the door panel with the different colors. Manual adjustments for the passenger. No kidding. Manual adjustments over here on the driver's side. Remember, we're comparing apples to apples. But why don't you come over here to the business side of things? I want to show you that you do get something technological over here. Come on over, I want to show you. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. Now like you saw on the passenger side, you got your manual seat controls. The nice thing is you could actually raise and lower the seat. Sometimes, you know, and that's for both the driver and the passenger. Sometimes the passenger has to sit up here and the driver is able to do that. So it is nice to have those adjustments. I'm 6 feet tall, and comparing this to a Maverick, Maverick's got good space, don't get me wrong, but this just has a little bit more. Steering wheel, it does have that Rubbermaid style to it, but this is an STX trim. It is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. The good news is though, you're gonna get a nice 8-inch digital gauge cluster. You could scroll through a cornucopia of information, which is nice. And it kind of makes it not feel like a less expensive truck when you see stuff like that. So that's really nice to have that technology. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see what your passengers are gonna experience in this STX Ranger. All right guys, back seat time. And you know what, when you compare this to a Tacoma, it actually, I feel like it has more room back here, which is nice. You get the same seat material, the two-tone and everything. No pocket on the driver's side. So if you have a bunch of pine cones, you're gonna have to put them in between your legs, and that might cause you some pain. Back here, you got this Twinkie holder, fits 4 Twinkies, and what's nice is they give you a 12 volt, so that's a nice touch. I have my own pocket here to put my pine cones that I collected. And then, like I said, 6 feet tall, I feel pretty good back here, and they do give you an armrest, which is actually nice and soft with 2 cup holders. But it's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's see what the driving experience is in this Ranger STX. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Ford Ranger SXT. One of the things I forgot to mention is with this truck, you are getting the full selection of drive modes, just like the higher XLT trim, the Lariat trim, getting the same amount of drive modes. Right now I have it in sport mode, and definitely want to kind of showcase how this truck is going to drive, you know, doing your daily business. Now, one thing you're really gonna like is how the interior has been arranged. Lots of storage space. I'm glad that the infotainment system is now integrated super clean into the center dash area. You have your digital gauge cluster, and let's go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. They did rework the 10-speed automatic, give it some better shifting, give it some other great qualities to it so that it functions exactly the way that you want it to. So if you've driven a Ranger from previous gen, they did rework the transmission. On top of that, obviously they reworked the chassis, make it a little bit more rigid, cut down on some of that noise and vibration harshness. And really in the cabin, they did some great tweaking to all of the materials. Even with this being an STX trim, I mean, the seats are comfortable. They're not too squishy like a marshmallow. I like the way everything is easily adjustable by a lever or a knob. And getting to everything is well within reach. Visibility out the back is great. And even the side mirrors. I mean, I feel like that's one thing that Ford has always done well, is that the side mirrors have a nice amount of real estate to let you see what's around you. All right, guys, pulling away from this light, I think the 2.3 liter turbocharged engine provides definitely enough torque. I mean, 310 pound-feet of torque, and the way the gearing is and how the transmission now behaves, it really allows for a peppy 0 to 60 getaway time, which is nice. But let's get out onto the highway and see how this truck is going to drive. The nice thing too, especially when you're in sport mode, it's really in the sweet spot for torque delivery. So you're going to have that nice ease of changing lanes or having to merge. Whereas with some of the other trucks, it may not be that easy. But going down the road on the highway here, a little bit of wind noise from the mirrors, but not too much road noise, which is nice. And they really did a great work reworking the suspension, the shock absorbers, and like I said, the chassis for model year 2024. But the thing is with this truck is that being a midsize, a lot easier to park in your driveway, a lot easier to maneuver with, and it's a real truck rather than a Maverick or a Ridgeline, which is on a crossover SUV chassis. But going to this turn, nice bend. Are you ready to go on throttle? I'm ready to go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. 10-speed drops down and we're off to the races. So really, really nice on how it drops down very quickly, very smoothly. And then, like I said, if you don't want to be in sport mode, you have all the other modes to choose from: eco, normal, tow. But let's see how it handles in a turn, because I think it's going to surprise you. Alright, on the brakes. We're going to go underneath the overpass here on the Radius Rides test track. Nice, look at that. Very balanced, not a bunch of body rolling. You're not bouncing around all over the place, which is great. You know, sometimes you're in a truck, it gets really, really bouncy. The Ranger, you're not having to worry about that. And then you got that nice digital gauge cluster. Gives you the information you need right away. Soft armrest. I mean, it's a comfortable driving truck, especially, like I said, when you look at the price point. And I think the new look is really spot on. I'm glad that they went to this new design, because it makes it look more like a Ford truck. But I tell you, it's very easy to drive, very maneuverable, very predictable on the handling. And then, like I said, you have just enough power to get out of your own way. Here we go, on throttle. Gotta wait for the turbo to spool up, but once it does, and that transmission starts shifting, you're good to go. But I'm very impressed with how good I feel behind the wheel. I think that's the biggest takeaway, and I don't feel like I'm in a lower trim truck based off of the materials, the technology, all those different things. And the fact that, you know, it's got the 10-speed automatic, you got the 2.3 liter EcoBoost, handles really, really nice. And I love Velocity Blue, so there you go. But hopefully this has been a good overall review of what this Ranger is bringing for 2024. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys, another great day in so many ways here at Walker Ford. Definitely gotta thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, the rest of the crew getting us access to this Velocity Blue 2024 Ranger. Let me know what you think. For under $35,000, is this the best way to go if you need a mid-size truck? Let me know in that comment section, but if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. We need to give it up Stephen Flood. Not only is he working photography, videography, but he just got his CDL license so he could do some trucking. So wish Stephen some luck on the open highways and byways. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.